Welcome to this special edition of Whiskey and WealthTech. I'm your host, Alex Serman, Managing Director of Wealth and Institutional here at First Rates. I am here in Pune, India, joined by Nayan Madhamshettiwar, the Managing Director of Professional Services at First Rate and the Head of First Rate WealthTech. Nayan, thanks for having me in your offices again.
Thank you, Alex, for inviting me for this wonderful event.
Well, we spoke 2 years ago on this podcast, so you're our first repeat guest and our first repeat whiskey with the Amrut Fusion. So Amrut, we really enjoyed the last time we had it, but something special's happened with this since we last spoke. So tell us a little bit about it.
This is the first single malt Indian whiskey who has replaced Scotch and considered as to be the best whiskey of 2024, which is a pretty incredible thing for a Indian whiskey.
Absolutely. So I mean, it's incredible that India is coming up in the world as an India, or as a whiskey market. Most of history we've had Scotch, Irish, bourbon, whiskeys, all kind of being in charge, and now India is showing that they can not only keep up with those bigger players, but beat them out.
Absolutely.
So without further ado, let's enjoy the world's best whiskey. Cheers.
Cheers. Wow, it tastes amazing.
Yeah, this is really good. It's a blend of both Indian and Scottish barley. That's why they call it the fusion. It's made here in India in Bangalore. Absolutely fantastic whiskey, very smooth, a little smoky on the back end, but absolutely easy drinker. So
yeah, it tastes really good.
This is amazing. And so this is a special episode. We're having a lot of repeats with guests whiskey because we are celebrating not only the end of 2024 with this episode, but over 2 years of Whiskey and WealthTech. And so this is a bit of a milestone for us that this podcast has been around for over 2 years now. And so last time we spoke, Nayan, we talked a lot about AI, its use in wealth management. It's been 2 years.
Yeah.
What's changed in utilizing AI for wealth management, and what all has happened in the last couple of years?
Absolutely. I would say there's a huge shift has been happening. I remember 2 years back when I was talking to financial advisor referring as a AI, they were thinking about alternative investments. But now, after 2 years, when I'm saying AI, they know I'm talking about artificial intelligence is no longer an alternative investment. So that's a big shift is happening on that front. I see adoption of AI is no longer a choice. It has become a must-have, which either you are going to be disrupted or you want to be disruptor. And I see the wealth management firms starting from all the top to the bottom are very keen on adoption of new technologies.
Absolutely. I mean, it's something that every kind of event you go to, conference, you're seeing, okay, how are you using AI as a vendor? We're getting asked a lot of questions. How are you incorporating AI into what you're doing? So you're absolutely right. This isn't, a nice to have. This is something that you have to have to stay competitive.
Yes.
With AI changing over the last 2 years, Chat GPT has been a huge topic of conversations, other large language models. That's what most consumers, regular people kind of know about, but that's not the big trend anymore, is it?
Right. So I think in last 2 years, what we all see, a chat GPT definitely disrupt, which behind the scene, all the large language model works. It comes with 3.5, 4.0, and 4.0 is pretty surprising that you can literally have a conversation with him. But how we're going to use on a business purpose, that's equally important. It cannot be just a nice to have a tool. How we are going to use this large language model, these new technologies to disrupt the business, to get benefit advantage, to increase our business. And it started with large language model. Slowly it becomes a AI, machine learning, RPA, LLM, generative AI. But the next big thing on the frontier is agentic AI. Only a tech giant in Silicon Valley is talking about it, but that's going to be a next big thing in next 3 years. Agentic AI is going to disrupt the complete industry.
So explain a little bit, what is agentic AI, and kind of compare that to what most people may know as LLMs.
Yeah, absolutely. So with large language models, it got trained on trillions of data points, and that's the reason which too much of information, the models start gossiping, and we call it as a hallucination in the terms of AI world. But agentic AI is a goal oriented, work on specific approach and perform a specific task. For example, like if advisor wants to generate a client report, what this agent does, for example, I would say a client twin agent, it's going to read all the understanding of the client, how his behavior is, how he reacts when the market goes south, how he reacts when the market goes really blow away, how he reacts when his advisor change the investment objective without taking him into consideration. If this is all the behavioral knowledge of the client, if we feed into the agents, what this agent does, it reads the report exactly the way advisor is going to do, and based on that it generate all the relevant questions. Along with that, it generate all the relevant responses. So when advisor is having meeting with the client, they can have a very meaningful conversation because both of them are mentally prepared without even talking to each other, because this agent is behaving as a client twin agent and another agent is advisor twin agent. So they interact with each other and creating all the right content right before the meeting so that they can have a meaningful conversation and decision based outcome can be generated. So this is very powerful use case on the wealth management side for a client as well as for an advisor.
Wow. So, I mean, we're going from LLMs just predicting texts, kind of making assumptions of what the output should be, to now agentic AI that's really trained on very specific tasks, goes and checks those tasks, and even has that kind of self-reflection
Yes,
capability to understand, did I actually do this correctly based on
exactly.
my training, and can really help achieve much greater efficiencies on specific tasks rather than just coming up with whatever you're asking ChatGPT
Yes,
for.
yes, right. And another important thing, like when we are talking to a lot of advisor and firms, they keep on asking the transparency, privacy. That's two biggest concern with agentic AI. Both has been addressed to the extent that the no privacy has been secured as well as the transparency is complete there, so that how the data has been generated, any point in time, both the parties will know.
Wow. I mean, this is incredible advancement in
Yes.
what we're doing. And so you've talked about a few of the practical examples of how we can utilize agentic AI, specifically in the wealth management industry. What are some of the new trends that you're expecting to see outside of agentic AI? We know this, people are going to become adopting this. We're seeing, some talk about it across the industry, not as much, as I think we're going to, but now that we can utilize this agentic AI, what are some of the trends that we're going to see with that, or other trends that you see with
Absolutely.
AI?
So with agentic AI, the biggest hurdle for any AI implementation was the compliance. Getting a compliance blessing was really, really difficult for any AI model. But with agentic I believe the compliance is going to be a biggest consumer or biggest proposition of the AI in any big wirehouse as well as wealth management firm. And with having a compliance basing, things will move pretty fast on that front. That's one big thing. Second big thing is going to be decision making is going to be much faster. Some of the stats which McKinsey has published, there are 70% AI initiatives get started in every year, but only 20 to 25% goes in production. Rest all gets hold off somewhere in the value chain. But with agentic AI, that percentage is going to significantly increase to maybe 80 to 85%. That's a huge win for entire industry, and specifically in the wealth management where tech adoption in the past was pretty low compared to in the fintech segment.
Absolutely. I mean, I can absolutely understand that stat of how many get started versus how many actually get
Yes,
finished. That sounds about right. But having compliance be not just a hindrance to adopting AI, but actually being a promoter for it, that
yes,
would be a massive shift in the industry and really
Abs-
help spur a lot of momentum towards that.
yes, yes.
So that's incredibly fascinating. I'm really excited to see what First Trade is doing with Agentic AI, what others are doing in the industry, and how this can continue to move forward. And so, Nayan, I really appreciate your time today talking through this with us. And so, again, happy to have you on as a repeat guest for our first time doing this in celebration of our 2-year anniversary of Whiskey and WealthTech. We appreciate all of our followers and all of our listeners, sticking with us over the last couple of years and learning about AI and other things in Whiskey and WealthTech. And remember, we will be moving to a new YouTube channel, Whiskey and WealthTech, one word. The and is spelled out. And so for any YouTube viewings, please start going there. Starting in January 2025, we'll be moving all of our episodes over there. So remember to subscribe to that new channel. All of our other channels like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, those will all remain the same. So if you're listening on there, you don't have to do anything but continue to listen. So again, really appreciate all of you for sticking with us, and Nayan for being our first repeat guest. So cheers.
Sure. Thank you.